Hi, and welcome to The Social Angle, a podcast that helps promo pros gain an edge in the social media realm. I'm digital content director Vinny Driscoll, and on this episode, I am joined by Lisa Bibb and Chrissy Rogers, moderators of the Promotional Products Professionals and ASI members exclusive Facebook groups, respectively, to discuss challenges they face with monitoring large communities, how they determine and enforce rules, and much more. Lisa and Chrissy, welcome to The Social Angle.
Thank you. That was a
Thank
mouthful.
you.
Yes,
Happy to
I
be here.
write all this out and I got to make sure I get it right. But yeah, having two guests, I have to make sure that I cover both of you guys, and certainly you guys are you know, doing similar stuff for different groups. So today we're going to be talking about monitoring obviously large Facebook groups like you guys do for PPP and ASI. But before we get started, please give me a brief intro of who you are, what you do, and how you found yourself in the promo industry. Lisa, I'm going to start with you first.
Okay. I'm Lisa Bibb. I have been in the industry for 31 years, I think.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I was this big when I got started. And I am just very excited to be here with you guys. Currently, my job, I started out in sales and I became executive director in 2010 to start. And then that was for one regional. And then I got with another regional. And then I started with Gap. And then I started with VAPA. So I have two regional associations that I work with. And I wound up in the promotional industry by accident. I was looking for a job after my son was born, and a friend of mine knew somebody who knew somebody, and they needed an office manager. And I said, I can budget.
Sure.
And I did, and worked with a bunch of salespeople. And I thought, oh, they're having so much more fun than I am. I'm sitting at this desk and I'm running reports and blah. So I made the jump.
Yeah, and it's funny because I always ask this question of everyone, and they all have a great story about how they ended up in the promotional products industry. Unless you grew up with it, you probably didn't know it existed. And
No.
then a lot of people just kind of, found their way, just by taking a job, and they're like, "All right, I'll take this job. I don't even know much about the industry." Boom. That's what happened to me 15 years ago. I'm still in this industry. I love it. Now, Lisa, I got to ask you before we get to you, Chrissy, how did you find yourself as an admin of the promotional products professionals Facebook group?
Well, I can go back further to the reason I got on Facebook was to spy on my children, which I found that I could not do. So uh, I started thinking, like, this would be so cool to be able to connect with people that I only get to see once a year at the shows. So I started to, it was a scary thing to push the go button to start the group. But then I sent invitations to people via email to get on Facebook. Why don't you get on Facebook and we can kind of catch up with each other and blah, blah, blah. And it was completely organic the way that the group grew because all I did was tell my friends and then they told their friends and their friends and their
Of
friends. And
course.
then people started finding out about it. There are people from all over the world in the group. So it's really interesting to see these requests to join. And I'm thinking, how in the world did they find out about this?
So you started the group actually.
Yes.
Okay, wow. All
That's
right, I'll
great.
get to more questions about the group. Chrissy, I don't want to forget you here. So give us a brief intro, what you do and how you found yourself in the promo industry.
Thank you. Yeah, I too just, was at a place I needed to find a different job, and I had been doing market research forever. And I had a lot of call center experience in market research, but now market research is very much online more so than anything. And I wound up, doing reporting and a lot of that boring stuff like you were mentioning,
Right.
writing surveys and doing all this stuff on the backside of the research. And I lost that personal connection with people, and I really found, like, just kinda dreading starting my next report. It's like I can do it, but it's just boring. So, when I was looking for something, I had a friend who worked here and just loved it, and she was always talking about the shows and how much, she really
Right.
just loved the company. So and it just happened to be timing that there was an opening that fit my qualifications, and it's great. So I'm the director of member services and customer service at ASI. So I talk to people all day, whether it's chat, email, or phone, and then of course the social media aspect of monitoring. But I mean, really, we are we have our group, but it's not the same as the PPP
Right.
group. Definitely a different
Right.
different animal together. So
Yeah,
very
we'll get into that
interesting.
in a minute. So,
Hmm.
Chrissy, your transition to moderation of the ASI group sort of was a natural one for you, right? Because
Oh, sure.
working in customer service, understanding what ASI does, and the aspect of engaging with customers. So, so you basically made that transition sort of seamlessly, correct?
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the groups each. Now, Lisa, um, not only are you a founder, but you're also an active administrator of the PPP group, which has over 11,000 members. I had to double check that. I was like, wow, that's a lot of people that you have to kind of rein
Mm.
in on a daily basis. Can you tell us what the group's objectives are and how long it's been around?
Well, I started it in November of 2008.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
yeah, the objectives started out just to be the connection, the social connection, being able to um, just instead of just an email or a social platform where we could all be together, which is the purpose of Facebook, I know. But
Right.
as it grew, it became more of the collaboration and the brainstorming and the crowdsourcing
Right.
of
Right.
trying to get help with stuff that and people help each other that they have no clue who they are. But if
Mhm.
they have an idea, they've seen this product and, oh, well, you're looking for a solution for this. And I don't know how these people have the time to
Right.
stay on it
Right.
all day, but they do. And there are some very regular contributors.
Sure.
And
Sure.
it's wonderful that they have the energy and the time to do it because it's very, very helpful, especially for those people that are the one person shops that don't have the opportunities. And
Right.
if they are more remote than a lot of people who are closer to where the big shows happen, and if they can't get to the big shows, if they don't have the connections, this has been extremely helpful. And I'm so happy that that has worked out for so many people.
Yeah. I go onto the group and I see a lot of peer-to-peer engagement. I see a lot of people helping other people, and people use it for the ease of it. I think it's so easy to find what you're looking for, just jumping in that group and saying, "Hey, I'm looking for this," and
Mhm.
it's
This
almost,
exact
it,
pen.
yeah, I need this pen. Have you seen this pen? And it's funny because it seems like that's the easiest way to get from A to Z for a lot of people. I don't know if that's what the group's intention was, and I know that I see it as almost like a way for somebody to help somebody when they could be helping themselves in a way. They can figure it out, but they're doing it because it's such an easy way to get an answer quickly because there's so many eyes in that group. There's so many active people that it just seems like that's the way to go. I also see a lot of other great content in there, but I think for the most part, what I see is what we just described. Have you seen this? Can you help me find this?
Mhm.
So when you have 11,000 people, and I know all of them, not all are
Yeah.
active.
Yeah.
There's probably it's
Mhm.
like a iceberg. It's probably a very small amount of people who are active regularly on a day-to-day basis. But still, that's a lot of people. If only a tenth of the people are active, that's still quite a bit of people. Um, Now, Chrissy, same basic question. ASI's group is a lot smaller. We mentioned that earlier. It's
Mhm.
probably one tenth, one ninth, whatever it is. It's got 2,000 members. Can you tell me what the group's objectives are, if they're different from from PPP, and how long the group's been around?
Sure. So the group started pretty much like the same year I started with ASI, which was 2018. And it had really, I think the goal, the main purpose is just to cultivate like that community, to really
Hmm.
have that relationship building. And I think helping each other out, like you mentioned, Lisa, that's a huge, huge part of the group. And we actually were very, very stringent on allowing product searches because, obviously we know PPP's out there. That is like, if you are looking for that pen, people are looking for that pen, they're putting it on PPP. We know that. And we thought, we didn't want the site to really the group to really become another, place to search, but more so like, let's talk about ideas and different ways to get around
Right.
problems and things like that. But, it just naturally progressed to what it is now where, we're not pulling down search requests because people
Right.
need help right now. The
Right.
the the dynamic in the industry is just so different than what everybody was used to. So, if you're struggling to find a supplier that can source something and there's somebody in that group that can help you for any of that, we're going to let that go ahead and sit out there and hopefully
Right.
the community comes to the aid.
Right.
So,
And I think we started off with good intentions. We
oh,
weren't
sure.
going to be, you know, PPP.
Right.
ASI was going to be different. We were going to be a place for cultivation of ideas. But essentially, when we started to see a lot of the same activity in PPP that was in ASI, we couldn't really turn our back on people who were like looking for, you know, help in finding certain things. So we kind of
Exactly.
changed um, our requirements or our guidelines to say, okay, this is okay,
Mhm.
within reason. We're not going to just let people, you know, post all the time. But
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think that we're all kind of doing the same thing. It's the groups are essentially there for our members and for promotional products professionals to help each other out. And I think that's what I found that's really awesome about this industry is that there's always somebody who's right there, willing to step up and help others.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that is just, when everyone succeeds, we all succeed. And I love that mentality
And
about this industry. Probably why I've been in it for 15 years. Because, when I get down, sometimes I just think about the people and, how awesome and how helpful everyone is, when people have a problem. All right. So, Lisa, I'm going to ask you about guidelines. And this is really kind of the gist of why I wanted to have this conversation. What are the guidelines for PPP? What can you post? What can't you post? Are there things that are immediate grounds for removal? And what's the process involved when you're going to remove something?
well, fortunately, there are a lot of very diligent members. I can't see every single post, and we do have my co-moderator, Lisa Bennett, the other Lisa, as she refers to herself as. Um, there's a lot of people that will post. If it's an ad, that's a no-no.
Right.
Mhm.
If there's a big bashing, we don't
Hmm.
allow that. No naming names, no really mean, I
Yeah.
guess.
Mhm.
um, and there are a lot of people that will bring that to our attention because in Facebook you can report a post
Right.
to the administrator,
Mhm.
and
Right.
that pops up for me to take a look at. And a lot of times it'll pop up in Lisa's too, and she can take care of it. But if it is really beyond every guideline that we have as far as being respectful, professional, no ads, no politics,
Right.
um, if they continue, um, we can suspend them for a day, a week, a month, or if they really piss me off,
Yeah.
ching, they're
Yeah.
done, they're gone.
Yeah.
And that has happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
do you warn them first? Do you say, "Hey, look,
Yes.
you can't do this," or
Yep.
"Hey, we're going to take your post down," or do you just take it down and then let them know? Like, what is the process involved?
Well, when that is reported to me, I can remove the post, and then another screen comes up and says, "Do you want to tell this person why
Okay.
your post is being removed or whatever?" And
Mhm.
you can check the boxes. There's 10, and I don't know them off the top of my head, but most of the ones are at the very top of "Don't bash, don't
Right.
politics, no ads, blah blah blah." And you can check the box and send it to them so that they will understand what they have done to get their hands slapped.
Right. Right.
Um, and sometimes it's just so bad and so beyond that it's easy just to go, "You're done, you're gone, you're blocked
Right.
forever."
Mm.
Right.
Wow. Mhm.
And I noticed that there, recently there's just a lot of supplier bashing in there. Only, I mean, suppliers are struggling just like everyone else, in terms of getting supply, and it's just so
And
yes,
staff.
yeah, and then when a supplier is put on blast, I know that there are people who immediately come to a supplier's aid,
Yes.
Yeah,
I like the self regulation of PPP. Sometimes, it's like,
Mhm.
instead of piling on, there are people who will jump in there and defend, and it kind of all sorts itself out sometimes, which is nice to see. But again, you guys are busy, you guys have other jobs. A post may stick around a lot longer than you intend it to stick around in terms of deleting it. So, it gets a lot of eyeballs before it's actually deleted. But I do like the fact that there's a balance where people will come in and they'll defend. Like
Yes.
the same thing. It's like, people do it to us, ASI and PPP. It's like ASI versus Sage and PPAI. It's like, there will be people who come to our defense, and vice
right.
versa. It's one of those things that kind of balances out. Now, Chrissy, I want to ask you the same questions. What are the guidelines for the ASI member exclusive group? Is it the same as Lisa's? What do you guys do in terms of dealing with posts that may be in violation of guidelines?
Yeah, we're very much aligned in our guidelines there. Luckily, we don't have a lot of political posts and things like that. But certainly that be professional, be polite, and that's like the number one for us. That's our number one rule there. And it's really about showing and helping people, not about promoting your own work. I would say that that's one of the biggest things that we really have to look at is when people are really just trying to put ads on the page and
Right,
we all are spammed enough already, right? We don't want that to be what we're looking at on that group. So that no self-promotion is a big one that we have to enforce and just we have, people that have to approve check off the boxes that you agree to these rules when you sign up, and it's
Right.
amazing to me how many people don't sign,
right,
they send, one thing and not the other three. It's like, just say you agree and then we can let you in the group. and
right, right,
and so some of that management is happening, but I do think that the best thing is just the being polite and professional and not letting things get. I mean, everybody's going through such a hard time right now with different areas of inflation and supply
right,
and
right,
everything. So delays with shipping. So the last thing we need is negativity on top of that
right.
when people are just trying to get help. So
Right.
yeah,
And I know, Lisa, you're a big fan of promoting, like, hey, instead of bashing people, get out there and sell, figure out, you know,
yeah,
use your time in a way that's going to be productive. Like,
Yeah.
you
hmm
could be a little bit more proactive in your approach to problems. If you have a legitimate gripe and you want to report something, for sure, that's well within your means. But to me, I feel like there's a lot of time wasted in some of these groups that complaining about certain things when it's like,
Right.
hey, we're all going through it. We're all having trouble finding, um, product, and supply chains are bad. Gas prices, inflation. We're all going through it. So let me ask both of you, what's a typical good day and a typical bad day look in moderating your respective groups? Now, what I mean by this is, time investment. Are there days where you don't even have to bother, going into the group because everything seems to be okay? Are there days where you're spending most of your day in the group? So, Chrissy, I'm going to start with you on this one.
I feel like I'm probably gonna have the easier of the 2 answers on this one. We do actually have some days where it's very little involvement. We keep an eye on it, and certainly we're looking at it daily, but it doesn't consume the day. There are other days where, we're seeing a lot more activity, and mostly that is people putting things up that they really shouldn't be, or, getting a lot of approvals to go through with the right requirements. Every once in a while, I will take a conversation and just message with a person. We do the same thing, Lisa, where we, check the boxes. This is why we pulled your post down. But sometimes, especially with newer members, like I'll set do a little DM and just say, just so it's we see you did that and we sent you a notification. This is why, if you have any questions, let me know. But I don't think I would do that with the
Right.
with the same size group that you're dealing with, because I can only imagine it's a much different area there.
Sure. Lisa?
Um, I probably spend, this is going to sound funny, I might spend 20 minutes a week
Okay. Oh, wow. All right.
Okay.
because there are so many people that are involved and they are in there so much that they kind of keep a tab on it. And
That's great.
when they send me the really outrageous ones, and most of the time, a lot of times, I can't say most of the time, a lot of times everybody just kind of rolls their eyes and says, yeah, well, this guy's an idiot or whatever. But, um, unless I get the message of somebody is really breaking the rules terribly,
Mhm.
then I don't really have to get involved. And a lot of times, I mean, I put on my sales hat from a long time ago, and if they're looking for something or an idea for something, and I still have some of those brain cells that are stuck in the sales days, and I'll make a suggestion because it makes me feel good. I feel like I'm
Nice.
being involved and helping mentor and stuff like that. Um, I really don't have to spend that much time on it. What I do have to do, and it is a daily chore because there are so many bots out there that are doing
Yeah.
Oh,
their
yeah. Mhm.
applications, and they're from overseas, and who knows what it is, and just decline and block.
Right.
Mhm.
And there, because there is a process, even if people are inviting others to
Yeah.
join, if they don't fill out the form, um, they're getting declined. If
Right.
I don't know them personally, or if Lisa doesn't know them personally, they're getting declined and they can reapply. But
Mhm.
I need to know that you understand what the rules are and
Right.
that why we're asking. And that's part of the questionnaire of joining.
Yeah, because if you let them in, then it's just going to be nonstop,
Oh,
buy,
it's
buy,
awful.
buy, all kinds of like, ads and stuff like that and garbage. So you have to be very good on your vetting process, which I know we are at ASI. Now, this is, my next question. Like Lisa, you mentioned about um, a team of people, how many
Mhm.
people do you have that are looking over content on a daily basis?
Uh,
You mentioned the other Lisa. Do you have other people who are keeping tabs or no?
just the other members that the people that are on there the most, that they contribute the most and pull information and request, and they keep a pretty close eye on things. And
Okay.
most of them I haven't met. I
Oh,
don't
okay.
know them, but they are very serious about making sure these people are not stepping on toes or being hateful, ugly. And occasionally, Lisa and I, who, by the way, I've never met her either,
Oh, wow.
um, she will send me a note saying, "What do you think about this?" Or "This person has really pushed the limits." I said,
Mhm.
"Take them out."
Yeah.
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 This is a free platform, first of all,
Right.
and you are
Mhm.
volunteering yourself to be in it. And if you can't abide by the guidelines, then go somewhere else.
Right. Right.
I love
Oh,
it.
all right, Chrissy, same question. What is your weekly investment, daily investment, and like um yeah, like are you in it I'm sure you're probably in it a little bit more than Lisa. Um but yeah, how much effort are you putting into this on a weekly basis?
Yeah, probably like I would probably say like 5-10 minutes a day,
Okay.
on an average, just to kind of scroll through what we're seeing, making sure that everybody's in there that's been approved. And we have Eliza, who is of course our
Hmm.
on our social media platform helping with that. So that's great. That took a lot of the lifting off of my shoulders,
Sure.
which I really appreciated. And she monitors and as do other people who are in the group at ASI. So it could be somebody that isn't necessarily designated to be in that role of looking at social media posts, but they give a heads up like, "Hey, I just noticed this post out there. It looks like the
Right.
person needs help." And more often than not, it's either misinformation or somebody struggling
Sure.
with something. We've even had a issue with like a service that was not working properly, and it's like, "Hey, let me." reach out to
Right.
this person, find out what their real issue is, and get them in touch with the person who can help correct the problem. So sometimes there's a little bit of that back and forth with a member to help them, take something to the next level. But a lot of times I like to read the comments. I mean, sometimes you go on social media posts and you see comments on like just a regular group, and it's like somebody makes a comment, and then I mean, right away people start being ugly,
Right.
and
Right.
it's almost, I think it's hard for people to even wanna put themselves out there because
Sure.
of the backlash that people have on sometimes I think very, benign topics, but people
Sure.
really make a person feel stupid or, why would you, say that or attack wording or things like that, and that really drives me nuts
Mhm.
just overall. Like, there's no need to be ugly. There's no need to be rude. And I really want to make sure that we don't have that as much as we can avoid it. I mean, people are, adults and they're professionals and you expect a certain responsibility that goes with that,
Right.
to be in that group. And I love the approach of just like you know the rules. You can't come in here and break these rules,
Right.
and here's a warning, or we're going to mute you, or boot you out after a while. And I just think that nobody should be subjected to that. So I like to review just the threads a little bit, which can get a little time consuming.
Sure.
Um, but that's the extent of it for me.
Yeah, and I think you touched upon a good point, Chrissy, in that there are people who are maybe apprehensive about going in there and posting something, especially people who are new to
Yeah.
the industry, because if they see that these groups people are being attacked for asking simple questions, maybe they're brand new, they don't understand, and they're not really attacked but made fun of possibly, and maybe it's not meant maliciously, but it looks bad, it's poor optics.
Mhm.
People are going to be a little bit apprehensive to kind of put themselves out there. I know we try to be as an ASI group as nurturing as possible. There are no dumb questions. If you have a question, please get in there. Ask it. But yeah, it's something that I see lots of posts from the same people all the time. The people who are they have the confidence, they have the experience, and all that. What I don't see is the newbies, the ones who are kind of
Mhm.
brand new to the industry, the ones who are kind of sitting back. I have seen it on
Mhm.
occasion, like, hey, I'm brand new, and and they'll ask a question where I'm like, oh my god, they are really brand new,
Yeah.
because the question is very basic, but then you're hoping people get in there and they're helpful and they're nurturing, which I think they mostly are, and that's a good thing. But you're right, Chrissy. Like, you see any of the bullying or any of the bad behavior, it's like, you just can't have that in any
Absolutely.
of the groups. Now we're gonna get to a question I can't wait to ask Lisa. Now, Lisa, you seem to be somebody who is not afraid to put her foot down. And there is pinned at the top of PPP is
Uh-huh.
there is you know uh, a missive from you that you really put your foot down. People were behaving badly, and it was expletive laden, and you were like, go bitch somewhere else. We're gonna get rid of you if you
Mhm.
keep doing this. Now, do you find that when people are not behaving well in the groups, and you come out and you say something like this, you put your foot down? Do you find that approach works?
There was a collective gasp. Well, it started out with, especially when everybody started having their supply chain issues, and um, they're still having staffing issues.
Mhm.
And you try, it's kind of like when my generation was little and your parents said, now, you can't do that. You can't say that. And then, did you hear what I said? One more time. We're going to count to three. We don't count to 10. We did not count to 10. And then it's like, don't you make me pull this car over.
Right, right,
And it just got to the point where people were not paying the attention that they needed to.
right,
And yeah,
Mhm.
it was extreme. And I said, quit your bitch fest and go take it somewhere else and knock this shit off and
right,
um, take a breath.
Yeah.
And guess what? They could be a mentor too. But just don't use this platform to be hateful and ugly. That's
right.
not what it's here for.
And I think that you have a certain amount of there's reverence about Lisa Bibb. I think a lot of people know you. I think you're established, and I think
because I'm old.
that they know when they've pissed off the wrong person. Like you're able to get in there and put your foot down, and everyone's like, "She means business." Like,
Mm.
okay, it's like
Don't
it's
mess
like
with
the
Lisa.
it's like the matriarch. The
That's my
matriarch has
kids.
yeah, the matriarch has just entered the building and she's not happy. It's like boom, you put your foot down. Now, Chrissy, you don't have that sort of clout in our group because
She will after today.
I know,
well, she
right?
will today. So you're
Get
more
my
of a
muscle
behind
going.
the scenes person. Like you
I
like to
am.
take
Hmm.
conversations offline. Can you tell me a little bit more about how you approach, posts that you are in violation and you're going to take them down? Like you take them offline, right?
Oh, for sure. And I think part of it is too, I mean, I'm the director of member services, right? So I think at the heart of it all, I'd rather pick up a phone and talk to a
Right,
person and, let's talk about the issues, and what's at the heart of this because, and I think I even saw on one of your posts, Lisa, like, did you give yourself lead time? Did you expect the client to, get exactly what they wanted when there's a shortage and shipping delays and there's cargo ships in the ocean, everybody's talking about it, and then you gave us the supplier what, a month? Like, you need to build some time in and have a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C. And sometimes it is like a tough conversation. And for me, I feel like I'm better to have that conversation live than I am to go back and forth with a chat. And sometimes people don't want to hear it. You don't know if they really got the message, but that's how I approach a lot of it, but sometimes it's a little simpler. Like if somebody's being just down and out, just, rude or just not getting the message that, look, the politics aren't going to fly here. You really do have
right.
to just mute them or kick them off.
But if they have a complaint and it's legit, and this
Hmm.
this just happened the other day, I forget what the topic was. Somebody had a
Yeah.
complaint about ASI,
Yeah.
and they voiced their complaint in the
Hmm.
public forum.
Yeah.
Now, what I like about what we do is that okay, we're not going to delete this complaint because it's legit. We have
Sure.
somebody who is they have a problem with ASI.
Hmm.
They're in our group. They're making it known. Instead of removing that post and then taking it offline and then have it disappear from the
Hmm.
others who may have seen it, we publicly make a statement.
Oh yeah.
We say, "Hey, look, we really, we apologize,
Hmm.
and we make it very obvious to others that we're addressing the concern.
Hmm.
If it's a legitimate concern, we'll let the client know, hey, we're going to contact you. We're going to take it offline. We'll be in contact." So I think there's
Absolutely.
a difference between a legitimate complaint and then there's just bashing. That bashing to me, I've always made the case like there are a couple rules. Like if somebody uses bad language, unless it's Lisa, of course, um, I'm going to take that post down immediately because by definition, if you're going to use foul language and you're going to name call, we can delete that, and you're not gonna be second guessing that. You're gonna be like, okay, I cursed, I said something, I'm gonna take it down. But if it's something that like is legit, you're frustrated, and I could tell you're frustrated. You may say something like "damn" or like I get it.
Hmm.
We're gonna still address it. We'll leave it public. We'll apologize publicly, and I think that's those are important aspects. And then but then if there are posts where it has nothing to do with the promotional products industry. We get somebody in our group who is posting things that have it's like delete, delete,
Yeah.
delete. I don't even
Definitely.
notify those people. It's like, come on, like
Right.
you pretty much know.
Yeah.
All right, so we've talked about some bad stuff, and let's talk about some of the good stuff. Lisa, what are some of the positive takeaways you see from members in our respective groups?
I see a lot of thank yous, not only to the suppliers that did a great job in getting the order done through whatever. Um, there are some members that publicly acknowledge the help that they've received from the other members. And that's the whole point, right?
Right.
They
Hmm.
just want to make sure that everybody knows that this is a positive thing in their whole work process that they are using these people, their knowledge, there's people that have been in the industry for a really long time. The new people are there. If there are some mentors that are really good at doing the help that people need, and they get acknowledged. I think that is fantastic. That's the best for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Chrissy.
great answer. It really is what it's all about, helping each other. And I particularly love when, and I think we touched on it earlier too, when you have somebody who's real fresh into the industry and they're asking questions and you see that collaboration to really help a person, not just give them a quick answer, but really take the time and like explain it to them and give them resources. That's just wonderful. That's like magic happening in front of you. And you could just sit back and be like, here's one I don't have to intercede with
Yeah,
and let
yeah,
the group chime in. That's wonderful. Sometimes we can chime in too with some things, but generally we let the group handle themselves in that regard. And
yeah,
it's great to see.
yeah. I love both those answers. I think that the support, the networking, um, the friendships, and I see lifelong friendships. Lisa, you mentioned earlier that you've never met some of these people,
Mhm.
and it's so funny. Since the pandemic started, I've got a whole group of friends that I've met just because social media was where we actually gathered and we
Mhm.
collaborated, we talked, we met new people. I've got all these people who I consider my friends who I've never met,
Mhm.
and it's amazing because
Mhm.
I've interviewed them. I see them on social media all the time. I feel like I've known them forever, and I've never actually physically met these people, and I consider them friends. And I think these groups are doing that. They're allowing the forging of relationships. People doing business with each other. Yes, can it be contentious? Politics. This country is more polarized than it's ever been, and politics always seem to find their way into a conversation. Um, and it's unfortunate because every 4 years,
Mm,
this industry is all
I'm not
about
ready.
pol- political promotional products. It's like boom. It's like that's you know we're advertising. You're advertising yourself as a president of the United States. How can we not cover that? How could that not be in the news? How could people not be talking about that? But yes, at the end of the day, though, it's about relate. This is a relationship industry, and I love it. And I think if I look at the good in social media, that is what I see the most, especially in the groups. So these groups, yes, they're difficult. There's frustration behind both your eyes. I can see it, but I think at the end of the day, it's ultimately a good thing. So I have one last question for you both. And I got to know, what's the most difficult thing about being an admin for a large Facebook group? Chrissy, I'll start with you on this one.
I think it's a lot of the stuff we already covered is
Yeah.
really just, having to be. I mean, when you think about the people that are out there that are being mean and hateful, it's difficult to see it. It's just difficult to see that these are business owners. I mean, these are people that do work for
Mhm.
people, and it's like, how do you think that that's ever going to make you a successful person by spreading anything that's negative like that? So
Right.
I think it's more so that than it is the mechanics of it or the things you have to do. I mean, you have to do things in anything you're dealing with to make it work right. And I think that probably Lisa too, same thing. It's like that's not the big thing. It's really the people that, that make
Right.
it difficult, and the ones that don't are the ones that save your day every day.
Mhm.
Yeah. What about you, Lisa?
Um, being a mom to that many people,
Hmm.
It's 11,000 kids. You got a lot of
it's
kids. Yeah.
11,000 kids. Well, it's like herding cats, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
Eh, Trying to correct another adult who
Hmm.
should know better than to
Right.
do
Yeah.
what they're
Right.
doing. Keyboard bullying is
Mm.
awful. Um, I just I don't want to have to be that person, but being a mother of two, I've done it before, and don't make me stop this car.
Right. 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 I love
So
it. I love it. So we actually do have a comment on LinkedIn. Sherry Gant says Lisa Bibb is total awesomeness. So you got a
thank you,
huge
Sherry. I
fan.
do know her.
Yeah. One of your kids, right?
She's one
Um,
of my kids.
so before we part, I just want you guys to let anyone know how they can contact you if need be. And I'm sure everyone knows how to contact you, Lisa.
Yes. Um, wow, I have so many email addresses. The best way is probably to use Messenger on Facebook. I
Okay.
mean, that
Mhm.
pings my phone, and I can see your message right away. So,
There you go.
um,
What about you, Chrissy?
Perfect. Yeah, same. I mean, Messenger's definitely a good option for me. And my email is C Rogers. That's with a D, so it's CRODGERS at asicentral.com.
I just remember, just like Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if you're a
I say
football
that every
fan, but
yes,
day.
I'm like, it's like Aaron Rodgers. Just
Yeah.
add a D in there. So perfect. All right. Well, this has been a great conversation. Of course, you can, join PPP, Promotional Products Professionals. You don't have to be a member PPAI or do you? I don't even know what the rules are
nope.
for that. ASI PPAI. I know for the ASI members exclusive group, you have to be an ASI member, but we vet. I know you guys vet as well. You have to answer questions. So get in there. If you're a promotional products, person, get in those groups. They're great groups. Lots of networking going on. Lots of people helping each other. Business is being done. But again, this has been a great conversation. Thank you for spending a few minutes today.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
I'm so glad to have met you, Lisa. Thank you
Very
for
nice
your
meeting
time.
you.
Thank you.
All right, for
Thanks,
Lisa,
Dan.
absolutely. For Lisa, for Chrissy, I'm Vinny, and we'll see you next time on the Social Angle.
Have a great day.
Bye.